my book baes, how are you doing? Getting here. So I hope that you are having a great month of reading. As you know, this is November, and November is Indigenous Author Month, and it is also nonfiction reading month, and I love good nonfiction. But what I decided to do this month was to do nonfiction graphic novels, and while I was picking up a few, I figured I would go ahead and show you a few more. So this is library edition of graphic novels nonfiction, and I have, I believe it's 15 here, so let's talk about a few of them. So the first one that I have here is called If I Go Missing, and this is based off of a text of an Indigenous girl talking about if the Indigenous individuals go missing, about how they're not looked for as much in earnest as other individuals in the United States. So very, very poignant and interesting, and it's pretty quick read here, so might be worth checking out. And then this next book is called Come Home, Indigo, and this is a memoir of an Indigenous man from the, who's he from? The Ho-Chunk Nation in Wisconsin. And this is talking about his life growing up, how he struggled with substance abuse as well. But very interesting. And got a lot of, you know, different graphics going on there. The next one, actually this is a 3-book series. Now I talked about this when it comes to voting, so I'll link my video below. But this is a March series. It comes in an omnibus as well, but it's a 3-book series, and it basically details a Congressman John Lewis's involvement in the civil rights movements in the 1960s. He talks about how he was part of peaceful protests, the March on Selma and Washington, a lot of the sit-ins as well. Just very eye-opening of the struggles that Black people have been part of to get the right to vote and not be second-class citizens in the United States. But definitely something to check out. You also have this book here. Now, this is Big Black Stand at Attica, and it's talking about a prison revolt in 1971 in Attica prison in somewhere in New York. And it talks about the injustice of how racially motivated violence was utilized against these prisoners and the injustices of it. And what we know of as the Black Panther Party was founded by Bobby Seale and Huey Newton. Now this book tells you all the ins and outs of every iteration of all the different Black Panther parties around the US, as well as all these different founders and leaders. Just very, very in-depth, I'm telling you, about everything to do with the Black Panther Party. Then you have this book, which is Victory Stand, and this book is about a gold medalist, Tommy Smith, in 1968, about how he raised his fist on the Olympic podium to protest racial injustice in the United States. I'd never heard of him before, but he is fighting injustice and utilizing his platform in order to do that, and the backlash that came with that. And you have the story of Anne Frank. Now, we have heard of this story, of course, about the girl during the Holocaust, that she was hidden in an upstairs attic with her family, then was eventually found and sent to a concentration camp. And the diary is based off her, you know, diary that was found later. Now, this graphic depiction, I will say I am not as big of a fan of. I mean, not only does it tell her story in a super colorful format, but I just feel like there's just a whole lot of other things involved in it that in a way kind of glamorizes it, and I don't think that I'm as much of a fan of that for what it is. But you know, you can take a look at it and see where, you know, what you think. But as someone that read that story when I was in high school, it really stuck with me, but it definitely wasn't a glamorous story. So I don't like the way that it is being told there, but that's another thing. Mouse. Now this book has been around for quite a bit of time. I think there's 2 installments if I'm not mistaken. This is book 1. But it basically talks about this guy. He's a comic. His name is Art Spiegelman. And he is talking about, you know, his relationship with his aging father. And it also details his father's survival during the Holocaust. The guy's Jewish. So it's been on a banned book list for quite a bit of time. A lot of people have some issues with it, I guess, of telling history. And it also depicts the characters like in cat and mouse format. So pretty interesting. I think I'm going to wait till I get all of the books before I actually delve into reading it, but definitely something interesting and unique. Then you have They Called Us Enemy, and this is about George Taki, whose entire family was forced into Japanese relocation centers and held there for years. It's about legalized racism and families' hard choices in American democracy. Should be pretty interesting. And then you have Persophiles. Now this is book 2, but there is also, of course, a book 1. And this is about growing up in Iran during the Islamic Revolution. And then you have The Best We Could Do. This is a pretty thick book here. Really heavy. So this is another memoir. One family's journey from the war-torn home in Vietnam to their new lives in America. Big book there. And then you have, oh my gosh, y'all. So you have My Friend Dahmer. I've been seeing this book at the library for about a year. And I have not read it because I actually saw a movie. But anyway, this is about Durf, who was actually a friend of Jeffrey Dahmer's. And this is kind of like a memoir, creative novel thing, detailing, you know, early life of Jeffrey Dahmer and an insight into who this individual was that committed so many atrocities. But definitely eye-opening for sure. The movie was kind of creepy. And then lastly, y'all, I have this book. It is called Tetris, and it's the games people play. Basically, this is about the evolution and creation of Tetris. Apparently in 1984, Tetris was created in the spare time of the developers. And that is it. That is all I have for Nonfiction November Library Haul, graphic novel style. So let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. Leave me a little comment below, give me a little like button, and if you're so inclined, give me a subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Now, I have to bring these back.